Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another race here with Ames League, and we are here at Willow Springs with the MX5s. Ryan, how's it going, dude?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is around the world. It's going well. We're doing well today. 5 hours of sleep after staying up to watch the Suzuka Japanese Grand Prix for Formula One. Feeling fucking great.
Absolutely. And yeah, that was a late night, but feeling great this morning. So happy to be here and what else. And I'm sorry, I just happened to see fastest lap of 116.0 from Tony Cal. That's the kind of day it's going to be today. All right, wonderful. So real quick, I need to change a sound setting here. Where was I messing with that? Last week we found out that there was a few changes. I guess the sound wasn't great last week, so we needed to change a few things here and there. So just give me a moment, people.
I don't know if it's between Discord or OBS or both, but sometimes things just like to change on their own, so we have some technical difficulties. But yeah, Demon with their drinking games. Hey, bud, we didn't tell you to crack the bottle open. You knew what today was. Speaking of cracking something open, I've got a monster here that needs some cracking.
Well, have at it, my man. I already got one open, so we should get sponsored. Monster, if you're out there,
Yeah, Monster, if you're listening, come through. We will.
Speaking of, I think we have a new livery. Oh, he's not running it. Oh, was that actually for his Group 3 car? Tony Cal
yeah, that was our Arctic.
Tony Cal saying Demon can't hang.
That's obviously for sure. Well, why don't you, since we're just checking sound, could you hop on board with someone and just see how it sounds? Because it's different. Yeah, okay. The volume sounds good to me.
Absolutely, sounds good. So, Willow Springs today, some would say it's a lovely track. Others would say it's a horrible track.
I don't know about that. I think it's an awesome track. When you get hooked up around here, it feels so good. But it is punishing. Like we've said this before about other tracks, but it is just ridiculously punishing around here.
Yeah. If you end up in the dirt and you have to go on an excavation, basically to get yourself out, we saw some wild penalties this week in the Discord as the drivers were all practicing. And like 28 seconds, I think, for one of them.
Yeah, Pato inadvertently cut across the middle of the track, going off at turn 3, and got racked up a 28-second penalty. And by the time he served it, he was at the top of the map, and by the time he hit the penalty zone down to the straight, he was serving that penalty. I got a 23.5-second one the other night. It was way too long.
Yeah, that sounds brutal. Hopefully we don't see too many of those today. And especially we've got a smaller grid today. It looks like I think only 10 drivers or so.
Yeah, if that many. Looks like 10 right now. It's a long series, unfortunately. Life comes up, life happens. Sometimes people can't make it, but we make do. And honestly, that might be for the best around here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this is a track where things can go south very quickly, and obviously we don't want any bowling or stuff.
It's in a desert. It makes sense that it's in the south, I'll show my way out. That's fine.
All right, it's been good streaming for you, everybody. So we are going to be wrapping up practice here in a few moments, and yeah. So this track, it seems very easy to get track limits penalties if you don't know exactly where those limits are, right? And even if you just put a tire, let's say, out on the dirt in the wrong place, as we see Labu doing just that.
Yep.
Once again, once the camera's on you, you start getting shy. I understand.
But that's all it takes to get upset here.
Yeah, that's all, and especially down the straight that he's coming down right now. I mean, you want to try to make it as straight as much as possible, but it's really just what you can do. It's very hard to do so though in a controlled manner. So
it's a very aggressive sense of driving. You're really using the momentum of the car to carry you around the corner and carry as much speed as possible in there. I think we found a pretty good place for ourselves personally. I put in a lot of time on this track this week somehow. I don't know how I found the time, but I did. And even still, I think my fastest was the high 118s. So we'll obviously be seeing that Tony Cal right now with a 1:16.0, which I believe he said was his fastest in his own practice.
Yeah, I think that's what we heard as well. And even we're on board with Delps right now. Someone who is saying he knows the track inside and out, and so we'll be having to take a look at Delps through qualifying. But it looks like we're about to get underway here. And yeah, I mean, in our practice, I think I got down to like a 1:18 and change, or 1:19.0, I think is what I ended up doing. And is the camera going to change? That's right. I guess it's not traditional pit, so the camera just sits there while these guys are driving out. Fantastic. But we are underway with qualifying here. 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to put up a fast lap, and see what you can put together here. And again, smaller grid today, so these guys don't have to be too worried, I think, about finding room to not be impeded or impede others. But obviously, you want to be careful on this out lap. You don't want to be getting any penalties, or and again, it's very easy to get penalties here. It feels like. So I mean, going into qualifying, obviously, we don't have to worry about tires or fuel for these MX5 races, and of course, we have this first race followed by a reverse grid. So maybe I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the reverse grid, given the fact that we do have a smaller grid today. Obviously, those faster guys are going to be coming in, and they'll have less people to drive by, basically, right? Less cars to get caught up behind. As we see Moose with one of those track limits. Unfortunate for him on this out lap. I don't think he'll be serving it here. He'll have to go another lap and cool off. But that reverse grid, hopefully it makes for some of that close racing that we've seen time and time again, and that everyone also loves to see.
Yeah, I am curious again with the smaller grid, how quickly maybe those faster guys in the back will be able to pick those off in front. And we say it again, I feel like we say it every week. People must think we're broken records, but this is a track, especially, you need to be patient. Turn 1, where actually Pato and Steezy are right now, it narrows so much on the exit. I guess technically of Turn 2, if Turn 1's the kink. As we see Pato going off in the dirt, but that is not what we practiced.
Pato, you're not in your Jeep right now. This is a Mazda Miata.
As the person saying how he's been to this track before in real life, he's trying to rack up that 28-second penalty again, I think.
He's trying to show us exactly what he can do.
No, but I was just saying it narrows so much on the exit that if two cars are going in there, the one on the inside has to just come to a screeching halt to make that turn without any contact. So it's not easy, but I think our drivers will be able to handle it. So hopefully there's no carnage. But there's not too many points that really feel, I want to say, easy to overtake people here.
No, I don't think so. As we see the first couple of fast laps coming around, Tony Cal with a 1:16.2, but Arctic taking pole position with a 1:16 dead. Just a bit faster than Tony's fastest lap in practice. Moose with a 1:23.3. Delps with a 1:16.7. So Delps wasn't kidding when he was saying he actually knows the track. And
wow, yeah, that's huge.
That's a very good lap from Delps. And
I don't think Tony Cal should be too worried just yet. We've seen him put it in 1:16.0 so far. Both he and Arctic have optimal run times of 1:15s. Maybe we'll see them today, because we've got a lot of racing going on today around here. And if we could see some 1:15 times, I think that'd be absolutely rampant.
I mean, I feel like that requires a bit of slipstream a bit of slipstream and maybe perfect. I see Delps taking going gravel ride, and basically, and he had a great lap followed by a not great lap, but honestly, his P3 start for Delps would be a great start for him, and we'll see if he's able to hold that position. Currently, Steezy Nick's the man behind him, and he's not far. Steezy's not that far off either. His fastest being a 1:17.4. He's got some time to make up, but we'll see how he gets on with this lap. Delps,
yeah, we saw Steezy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Delps, it looked like from that camera angle, Delps was like right behind him, and I didn't want him to be getting too, obviously this is not a fast lap for Delps right now. I didn't want him to be getting in the way of Steezy trying to put this lap in with his wonderful Coors Light livery.
Coors Light.
So let's see.
Steezy crosses the line, puts it a 1:18.5. Not the fastest. I know Steezy put in a lot of practice this week. Actually, I was going to say Steezy, Marino, Pato, myself, who I'm not racing. A lot of guys put in a lot of practice this week, and I'm curious to see A, their racecraft, but B, just their fastest times. Before I talked about how punishing this track could be, And it may seem obvious, but there's no runoff. There's basically no curbs. And really, if you make a mistake, you're done. There's nothing to help you out. Even like if you get a track limits penalty on a normal circuit, okay, fine, but your speed doesn't decrease as much because you're still on tarmac, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the dirt here, man, just can ruin you. Labu again, up in that top of the map, getting his tire in the dirt, looking a little cleaner than he was in practice. We'll see how he goes. Steezy behind him though is definitely going to be enjoying the slipstream. Right now, you're on screen with Marino and Pato. How's it looking over there?
Honestly, well, okay, first of all, I gotta say, I'm really excited to see that Pato currently holding P6. Now, I know it's only 10-man grid, so everyone's gonna be within the top 10 at the end of this, but Pato, okay, so Mooseman just moves Pato down to 7th, but that was a great lap by Pato with a 119.9. He's definitely got some more pace than him. Labu moves him down to 8th, but that's some good driving from him, and happy to see that. So, we got about 4 minutes left of qualifying here. So it looks like Pato gets a little squirrely. I don't know if Marino got a little close there for him or not. Unfortunately,
no. Pato's been struggling with that last corner. It is a weird last corner, that's for sure. And you're like aching to get on the power the entire time.
Yeah,
and in these MX-5s, you just cannot.
Well, between that and if you just go too fast, you end up in the pits, right?
Yeah, tell us about that, Walt.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. So we'll see how Pato ends up going. Right now, he's holding 9th place with Demon behind him, but Demon's not too far off either, so we'll have to see what happens. Let's check back up with our front runners over here, see how we're holding up. It looks like Tony Cow is still holding 2nd place with that 116.2. Arctic with that 116 dead. He's actually had, and let's see, he does not improve, but he's putting in some very consistent laps right now.
Tony Cal just crossed the line, 116.082. So close to Demon's time. Arctic's rather. Not
Moose
fast enough, about 7 100ths. Moose goes and takes P3 from Delps.
Yep. Good job to Moose.
2/10 up, 2.5 up.
Where's Moose? There he is.
Yeah, it's very difficult to tell Moose and Pato apart at real quick glance. Both bright greens.
We see a purple sector 1 from Moose. 118.0 from Demon, so that's going to put Pato, I think, down in 10th right now. We'll see if Pato is able to improve with the last 3 minutes of this qualifying. So
I believe.
I mean, Arctic and Tony are half second clear of Moose right now. That's a good amount of time in this car.
Really, that's a fantastic amount of time around this track, this car. Now, I mean, this track, it's really nice actually because they are getting a lot of actual qualifying laps in, with lap time being around 115 to 120 in a 10-minute qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
Something we don't typically get to see with our qualifyings currently. So hopefully that means someone will come back up, and I'm hoping Delps gets another faster lap than Moose. But either way, a 4th place start for Delps would be pretty great, I think.
You see, Moose seems to be improving on this lap, but not improving enough, unfortunately for him. He is holding 3rd place, though, and Tony Cow, however, takes 1st place, or a provisional pole, I should say, the 115.9. He said earlier we might see it. I wonder if we'll see it, and we saw it. I don't know if he had slipstream for that either, but that is a very quick lap.
He's got to be happy with that. And he's a half second faster than Moose. I don't think he's got to worry. I don't know that even Arctic has to worry about anyone else being that fast.
No,
to upset 2nd place.
Definitely a fight for provisional pole. Purple put in a 117.5, moving him up to 6th place. That's a good lap from Purple. He looked like he was, I don't want to say struggling a bit there at the beginning, but his lap times obviously, were not representative, and that's a good lap from him, a 117.5. If he can hold 6, I mean, again, 10 car grid today, but that seems like it'll be a good spot for him to be in. Not far at all from Steezy.
No, 5th. A 10th off or so? I mean,
yeah, that's very close.
Pretty darn good. That's pretty close.
Yeah. It honestly looks like, I'm having a hard time with the keyboard today. It looks like it's like, I mean, there's Tony and Arctic who are right there with each other. A little bit of a gap to Moose, a bit of a gap to Delps, and then a gap to Steezy. But again, this midfield is looking so tight. We'll have to take a look at the final times once we are done with qualifying here in the next 30 seconds or so. Steezy goes with a 117.3, not improving. Delps with a 116.776, improves just the tiniest of margins. Even with a 117.0, putting him up in 5th place. Now that was a good lap from Demon. Came out of nowhere. It felt like Purple with another lap, a 117.4, holding his current position. Delps gets the Purple sector 1. This is going to be his final lap. We'll see if he's able to improve upon that lap. But yeah, I mean, that's some good practice by Delps, and I don't know, maybe it's just this track or what, but definitely seems to be putting up some, quality times for the time being. Sector 2, he's up a little bit. We'll see if he's able to save it for the final sector. Arctic with a 115.944.
Holy mackerel. 4/100 separating him and Tony Cal. Tony Cal probably just prayed, thanking whatever deity that this qualifying's over so far for Arctic and himself.
Yeah, I don't
everyone's getting their final laps in.
It doesn't look like Delps going to be able to improve here, unfortunately for him. But still, I mean, the P4 start's great, and hopefully we don't have any too aggressive starts here as qualifying is coming down to. We'll see the final times coming up on the board here in just a moment. Delps with a 116.7, he's going to hold 4th place. And you have the rest of the drivers coming across the line as well. So hopefully...
Yeah, that's Jan from Demon kind of coming out of left field.
Yeah, man. He, let's see, Demon right there. Yeah, he's holding 5th position very well. Lovely new livery as well, I think, for this week. And, Demon's someone he gets his arms out, man. He gets his elbows out, and he's ready to fight for it. So we'll have to see how he does. Now, we know that the MX-5 tends to bring out the aggression in people. We don't really know why. Hopefully with less cars, we don't see as much of it. But I will say this first turn, because you want to take this first turn as fast as possible, right? If you're not paying attention to your surroundings, and like say you get stuck on the guy in front of you, you're just going off into the dirt. So hopefully we don't see much of that. But congrats to Tony Cal for taking pole position with a 115.900. Very fast lap, but not far behind at all is Arctic with a 115.944. Very, very close with these two drivers. Moose a half a second behind Arctic. That's a good amount of time in these cars, especially on track that the lap times are about a minute and a quarter, basically a minute and 15. That's very rapid.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Arctic and Tony have to worry about anyone else, but of course, not everyone's qualifying pace is the same as their race pace, or just how things turn out for them.
No, and you know what too? It's just like if those two are fighting though, Moose is going to have the ability, or Delps even at that, he's going to have the opportunity to get closer and stay with Arctic and Tony. We know that Tony's great at defending. If he's able to get a great launch at the start, and maintain track position going into the first couple of corners, that'll be great for him. But Arctic gets his elbows out, man. He takes dives and isn't scared to get in there. So let's see what happens, and if any of that kind of opens the door for the drivers behind. Again, great qualifying from Delps in 4th. Demon and Purple and Steezy and Marino. Again, these midfield guys are all very close for the most part. Honestly surprised to see. I thought Marino was going to be a bit faster.
I thought so too. It looks like his pre-race yoga or Pilates did not treat him well today.
No, unfortunately for that. But we'll have to see how he does. Marino does tend to do well in the races, it seems.
That's true.
We'll see how he goes. And then we had Labu in 9th with a 119.0. And our resident Zugger Pato with a 119.9. Now, which I think is still, that's around what he was lapping in practice. So we'll have to see if he's able to just maintain that pace. And week after week, I feel like we're saying to Pato, just put the time, just put the times up. Especially if you're not really racing with anybody, just putting those times up, and you can make up for other people's mistakes.
Yep, consistency is the name of the game here, and hopefully he can. He actually expressed to me the other night his goal really, if he can be consistent, even albeit a little bit slower, he can clean up from some of the mistakes of other drivers. And dare say we will likely see a fair amount of mistakes from other drivers. We don't wish it, but it's just too probable with this place.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen, unfortunately, and you know, hopefully we don't see too much of it. And I even for the reverse grid though, if he's able to add another lap into his laps lead counter on the rear bumper of his car, I'd be very happy to see that. And just more practice and more time driving with other people around you can make a world of difference, right? And
absolutely.
So
we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how
I'm excited though. I want to catch up with chat real quick. Delps, we are surprised by your lap time. Very good to see it. Love to see it. Demon, yeah, I kind of said that you pulled that out of left field. We'll see how he can hold on to it. I know that Demon's a pretty good defender when he feels comfortable with the car underneath him. Delps having a cramp in his right arm. Maybe you should have done the yoga or Pilates that Marino did pre-race. Just a suggestion. Drink some water, bud. And Tony Cal saying, get nice and loose, get rammed into T1. Obviously, we hope no one gets rammed into T1 today. It will be a spicy race to start. Or is everyone just going to be kind and patient and wait for it all to happen in front of them?
Well, we're about to find out as we are putting our HUD up on the screen. Everyone starts flashing their lights. And yeah, I'm excited for this race, man. Let's get going. As the red lights coming up on the screen, 4 lights, 5 lights, and of course we gotta wait for them all to go out. And we are racing here at Willow Springs, the Streets of Willow. And it looks like everyone's got a fairly good launch here. Pato coming up in the background of everybody else, and we're coming up to the first turn here. Let's see. Are we? Oh, we got some people off the track already. I think that was Demon going off the track there, going a bit wide. Unfortunately, that qualifying is gone. I guess we're getting a bit more dirt going through turn 2. Turn 3 coming up. We're still racing, and everyone is nice and close, bunched up for the time being. Now, this is a short turn coming up here, and everyone's going to bunch up once again. Hopefully no rammers. Looks like everyone stays pretty clean right now. We're on board with purple at the moment, just to try and keep an eye on all the action. But you know who's walking away? Arctic, taking first place from Tony Cow. Already set. How does he do it? How does he always find these opportunities where he just like escapes the whatever happens? I don't understand. He's a second and a half up already. He must have just found the right hole to slip by in. And Tony Cow is going to be playing catch up here in second place. Though Tony Cow, now he's got a second between him and Delps, taking third away from Moose. I don't even see Moose. He must have been one of the guys that got wrapped up in the first couple turn madness.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So
actually,
I don't know exactly what happened, but Demon is down in P8, Pato's in P9, and Moose is down in P10. Didn't catch what happened to Moose. I didn't even see him. I just saw Demon's car go by. So Moose has quite the race ahead of him if he even wants to try and make it up here. Now, we know he's got pace on other drivers, but there's no strategy here, obviously. There's no tire wear, no fuel use. So you can't bank on clever strategy calls. It's just got to be consistent and make the most of his laps and other people's mistakes.
Absolutely. I don't know what happened. It might have been, again, we were talking about it just after qualifying, where turn 1, man, if you're off by a little bit, it's tough because when you're running time trials by yourself, basically, where you're just trying to run hot laps, you don't take into account the different lines you may be forced to take once you're on a grid with 9, 10, 11, 12 other drivers, right? And once in a while, if your braking point, you're used to a braking point or a placard or something like that, and then it's gone because you got a car or two on either side of you, it's not going to work out. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened to Moose, but I can imagine that may have been part of the difficulties of going into the first couple of corners there. So it looks like the grid is spreading out a bit here, but again, nice quick laps for this track, as we see Tony Cal putting up the fastest lap with a 1:16.2. And if we jump on board with Tony, he has brought that gap down from Arctic down to just a second, under a second at this point, as we're coming to the first turn once again in lap 3. And Delps is trying to hold on, but he's now 2.5 seconds almost behind Tony Cow.
Yeah, I mean, Delps just, listen, you can try to hold on, but again, there was a big time difference between them. And Tony Cow's got a mission. His mission is to catch up to Arctic, and he's doing that quite well. He's got to stay consistent, stay fast. But I think we're going to see a fight between Tony and Arctic in not too long of time. In the back now, Moose is catching up to Pato. Unfortunately for Pato, I don't think the P9 is long for him, but we'll see as Moose is getting a little dirty there trying to get past him.
We'll take Wilco on with the two green cars of the track here. Now, Pato, obviously, you know, we want him to be doing some fighting and getting his elbows out. I know his big worry is ruining a race for others. And he's probably not used to seeing Moose back here with him. As you see, going side by side, coming to the stand. That was quite brave. That's a corner where I wouldn't, or, you know, kind of chicane, I guess that would not be looking to take. Not really quite a chicane, just a little kink in the road, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, and I just saw it here, and we saw it in practice too. There, down where they just were at, where Moose took over Pato, can make or break people's laps. It can really net you a lot of time to the person in front. In case in point, Demon caught right up to the back of Marino because of it. Demon carried so much more speed into that turn that he was right up behind Marino and is following him now just after turn 3. So, again, love to see it. That line just feels so good when you nail it. And for Moose and Demon, they both nailed it.
Absolutely. And nice to see also Labu not far behind Demon as well fighting. So Labu's in this fight as well for, I mean, you know, kind of race for P6 or 7, I guess, at this point in time. Obviously, we've got 25 minutes to go in this first race, so anything can happen. But so far, it looks like you know, Demon's got the pace. He's going to be making up some spots, hopefully, and I'm sure he's not going to be happy with the P7 finish if that's what it ends up being. If we move up the grid real quick, let's see. So we got Marino right there, about a second and a half behind Purple in 5th place, and Purple's not doing too shabby. He's about a second off of Steezy in 4th place. Steezy's got to be happy with that track position currently. Obviously, he, you know, with Moose being sent to the Shadow Realm, he is holding 4th place, but notably 6 seconds behind Delps in 3rd.
Hey, not only was Moose sent to the Shadow Realm, but Pato got past him again at some point. I'm not really sure what happened. But you love to see it. Yeah, Steezy definitely wants to hold on to that track position. He did have a half-second track limit penalty just before on the last lap of the one prior. Keep those down, bud, and you'll be just fine. But Del's very much in a race of his own. 3.5 seconds, 3+ actually, almost 4 seconds to Tony Cal in front of him. Like you said, 6 seconds to Steezy behind. Del's, bud, you're going to be your worst own enemy today if you screw this up. So keep it clean, keep it consistent. You'll be good to go. Tony Cal, the gap is still just around, just under a second now as he puts in fastest, I believe that's sector 3 around here, of 2 1,000ths faster. Really, really getting into the details here.
You want to talk us through this next hot lap? We'll jump on board with Tony Cal as they're coming around the final corner. Just take us through this lap real quick.
Yeah, so we're coming down the main street here. Love this over here. We'll see if Tony Cal, yep, he dips in to widen a little bit. If you dip in too far to that pit lane, though, you will get a track limit penalty. He comes down here, starts braking hard around the 35, 40 meter board. That's a really good turn in there. Actually, what I prefer to do as well. Not a fastest sector 1 for him. This turn is deceitfully slow, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a great racer like Tony Cal and Arctic, but coming across... Okay, all right, he's holding it pretty well. Again, that's a tight turn. You don't want to go too wide because you screw up your lines now into these squiggly, curvy bits. That's what I call them, curvy bits. And this entire time, you're not at full throttle until this point. You're coming up with this banked turn here. And again, another spot that can make or break people's races. Tony Cal fighting the wheel a bit, trying to get the car to cooperate with him. And now this is a massive straight. So he's a little over a second behind Arctic. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to be really benefiting from any... toe effect here, but this is what I mean. You brake late, you carry that momentum in, and then you're hard on the brakes right before that turn so you can come down. He's up into 3rd gear now, coming around to the penultimate corner. 2nd gear to help him with the rotation, get the car in, and nicely cutting that apex there on the last turn. It is not an easy last turn to do, and the gap is still sitting around a second. So Tony Cal puts up a 1:16.2, a very good lap time, just not fast enough to catch up to Arctic just yet.
Not fast enough just yet, but you know, it's good to see that. It's good to see the kind of lines that he's taking, and also notably, you can see just the corners that he's able to cut and put as he puts up a purple sector 1 there, that he's able to cut and make up just these tiny fractions of a second to try and, you know, catch up to Arctic. Arctic obviously doing the same thing. You know, you can kind of dip a tire or two in these corners and try to just shorten the length of the track a little bit, I suppose, or make any sort of turn more of a straight as much as possible. Also, notably, I love this banked turn here that we're just leaving, and you can go really deep, and you're, like you said before, you're not full throttle basically until almost the breaking point, right? Through those series of turns, as we see a purple sector 2 from Tony, just barely a purple sector 2, but a purple sector 2 nonetheless. He has closed the gap a tiny bit. However, actually, now that, okay, yeah, so
let it even out.
Exactly. You have to kind of wait a little bit. Actually, okay, so he gained
3/10.
Yeah, 3/10 in that lap. So he's putting it up. And though notably, his fastest lap is a 1:15.9 just from the third lap earlier. Now, I think that's when he may have been racing. I don't know how close he was to Arctic on the third lap or not, but that is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a very fast track time. Just updating you on the back. Moose finally did get past Pato again. Made quick work of Marino. Moose is now up to P8, chasing now Demon. Now Demon's qualifying time did kind of seem to come out of left field, as admitted by himself. So I'm sure that Moose is going to get this 4-second gap down pretty quickly.
Demon may be sandbagging, though. Let's be honest.
Demon may very well be sandbagging. We'll have to see. I of course want everyone to succeed, but we know Moose is hungry to get back up to P3. It's a tall order for a 30-minute race around here, but the laps are short and the mistakes are pretty common, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not. I would be surprised if we see some more mistakes. Sorry, I had a brain.
Sorry. Oh. Tony Cal is right up behind him now within half a second, looking even better. Another purple sector. Unless there's a mistake, which happens, we see it from both drivers here occasionally. Tony Cal's looking pretty comfortable now, and he's definitely close enough to be benefiting from a tow, and that's going to be crucial coming down the main straight after they go through these squiggly bits. Yeah, he's going to want to get past Arctic and just try to fly away as much as possible. Obviously, Arctic's going to have to try and defend and make that Miata as big as possible as well. Notably as well, I wanted to update everyone here on our, we are in round 6 of 10 of this MX5 Cup Series, so we're getting down to the second half. It feels like it's taking forever to get here, but we are here. And notably, in our top 3, we have Tony Cal with 185 points, Arctic with 174, and Moose with 167. So Moose to, be down this far in his first race, not something he needs to be keeping up with these two for the series win, and obviously Tony and Arctic going back and forth, really. But I gotta say, if Tony wins, if Tony ends up taking this first place away from Arctic, he'll be just increasing the gap even more, and that's obviously what he's going to want to do. Moose, on the other hand, Moose has to try and get as a best recovery as possible for this race, and try to close the gap up between these guys, because obviously the further you are at the end of the race, the less points you get, the further that gap's going to increase. And even though Winter isn't here today, Winter's holding 4th place behind Moose with 114 points. So anything's possible, I suppose. But right now it doesn't look like Tony Cal and Arctic are fighting for first, both in the championship and in this race. Yeah, that's right. Now, interestingly enough, I was just taking a look at the times right now. We are nearing the halfway mark in this race, and Moose is currently 31 seconds behind the race lead, which is currently Arctic. To catch up to Delps, he's 22 seconds behind Delps. And that is a large gap then that he would then have to catch up to the 2 fastest racers around here. I think he can catch up to Delps if everything goes smoothly. We'll have to see in the next, 15-ish minutes. But that still is a tall order. Delps, on the other hand, is just enjoying his day, I think. Now a 12-second gap to Steezy Nicks behind. So, again, very much in his own race. Just keep it consistent in Delps, and you'll be okay.
As he's honking away. Notably, I wanted to take a point of Labu in 6th place. So Labu was behind Demon and Marino, and now is up to 6th place behind Arpel.
Yes, but important to notice the Demon and Labu fight has brought Moose ever closer. He closed down that gap in a couple of laps.
Yeah, Moose is on a mission, man. And I'm surprised.
That's right.
I'm surprised Marino isn't putting up as much of a fight as previously. We expect more from him, and I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be in all reality, not every track suits every driver. Marino, who has proven to be rampant so far, and a really strong midfield driver at that, maybe just didn't get the practice in this week. I know he had to show a lot of houses at work this week, but we'll keep it going, hoping cheering him on in his Pennzoil livery, which looks fantastic.
Yeah,
and you're on board with the Moose currently, getting ever closer around this banked corner here.
Yeah, Demon's got to do a good job defending against Moose. Moose, obviously, that's the last thing he wants, because Moose is like, I need to make up time and catch the Delps and take P3 away from him. And obviously a tall order for sure. But, we see some good driving from these three. Demon also trying to put the pressure on Labu, and he's definitely right up behind him. So these three drivers are about to have a fight for 6th place. And I mean, if Labu puts a toe out of line, he can very well get past by not just one, but 2 cars in quick succession.
Yeah, I think Moose is in a really good position currently, less than 3/10 behind Demon. But again, he's got to stay close behind until he gets to an actual passing zone.
That's true as well. There's not a lot of parts, especially on the track, where you're not on full power for much of the track, right? Obviously, there's the couple of straights where you can really put the hammer down, but other than that, it's not too great of a track. We're getting a hello bros from Team Gran Turismo Guatemala. What's going on?
Team Gran Turismo Guatemala.
Welcome to the stream. And you're just catching us. We're about halfway through this MX5 Cup Series as we see Demon on the outside, Moose on the inside of Demon. He's going to take 7th place from Demon, it looks like. We'll see if he's able to maintain it, as these both are going after Labu in 6th place. Moose now in front of Demon. We're going through the final sector of this track, and it looks like he's solidified his place in 7th place here. Moose making up the positions. He's got about 14 minutes left to catch up to Delps in 3rd. We know that's his goal, right? That's got to be his goal, is to get 3rd.
Of course. I mean, it's damage limitation, right? If at least he can finish in the place he started, that's the best he can hope for at this point.
At this point,
I don't
absolutely.
think he's going to catch Tony Cal and Arctic unless something catastrophic happens to them up front.
No, and we're just moving around the grid real quick. I wanted to see how Purple and C's were doing. They're kind of racing they're in their own race, just as Delps is in 3rd. However, if we look up front, Tony Cal still, about a second behind Arctic, and these two were obviously very, very close in qualifying. Just a 100th off or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't much at all.
It wasn't much at all. So Arctic obviously doing a good job to keep the pace up and not make many mistakes. Tony Cal, when you're running basically identical times, it's hard to make up that time. When you're obviously, when Tony Cal might not be clearly faster than Arctic, it's very tough. And actually, we do see a new fastest lap from Arctic at 1:15.7.
Wow. Okay, so here we are, somehow Arctic pulling that in. He doesn't even have a toe. As we see our first lapping of the day, it's expected when you're that much faster per lap around a short track. I just wanted to give you an update. Moose did get past Mr. Labu, who's now up in P6. Now, his position might be closer than ever. However, he is 36 seconds from Arctic. It was 30 seconds, but with all that fighting now, he's 6 seconds behind where he was, even though he's actually in a closer position. So he's got a bit of a gap to Purple now, another 4 seconds, and notably Purple is not currently fighting anyone but himself, and maybe Grimace, I guess. But he's
got 4 seconds.
Put in the times.
He is taking that time down a bit here, though, as we see already. I don't know if Purple may have made an oopsie or not, but that time is coming down, and that means that he's gonna be catching him sooner than later. And right now he's got Queen Air, right? He doesn't have to worry about fighting anybody else. Obviously, he would love a bit of a tow from someone, but he's also not having to fight anybody for track position at this time. He can put his head down. He can see that time fall. He's now under 3 seconds from Purple in like half a lap.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild what he's doing right now. And I guess it just goes to show the time difference between the two of them. Purple has been terribly consistent in the 118s, 119 randomly, but really just throughout the 118s. Boost, though, 117, 118, 116. So, his slower laps are likely just coming from traffic and not his driving himself. As we now see, he's very close to Purple, sees him in his sights, and is just going to be getting ever closer. Really fantastic drive from Moose today. Yeah, great
recovery drive from Moose so far. Hopefully, and again, notably, Moose in past races hasn't seemed to be the one to really he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very collected driver and just kind of puts things down. And he also knows what it's like to be under the pressure, right? He's almost constantly fighting up front with Tony and Arctic and Winter and Gilly, and so he knows exactly what he has to do and how to fight and how to pass cars or how to defend from them when necessary. So today he's on an all-out attack for this first race, and we'll have to see exactly how he gets on with the rest of it. We'll jump back up on board with our other fight going on right now with Arctic and Tony. Tony Cow is closing that gap down a bit here. It's ever so slowly. He's spinning past him. Now, if he's able to keep this up, his last lap actually was a 115.7.
I'll tell you, though, Tony's already been doing this for 20 minutes. He's got 10 more minutes to make it happen, and we've seen him this close before.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that he's going to get it necessarily.
He's got to be getting a tow now. I mean, maybe he's close enough to get a tow right now from Arctic as we're coming down, putting up a purple sector three. There's 4 in this track, right?
I think there's 3 or 4. You come around turn 1, that's 1. Then you're up towards the top of the track, that's 2. Come down there, there's 3. So
yeah, okay, you're right. But here we go under. I mean, just about half a second right now. He may have got a little bit slippery on the exit of the final corner, but here we go again. Lap 17, going through turn 1. He's got to keep the pressure going. He's got to keep it up on Arctic if he wants to pass him within the next 9 minutes of this race. Again, we have a 30-minute race followed by a 30-minute reverse grid race for these MX5 Cup Series. And the reverse grid is based off of the finishing positions for this first race. So if Arctic takes first place for this race, he'll be starting last in the reverse grid race. As we see here, it looks like Labu overtook Demon. I think.
I was just watching this. I was about to say we have 3 fights in our hand currently, but Labu made it happen. They came down that back straight, and Demon went wide, and Labu was able to contain it and overtook him quite easily. And now Labu's obviously going to look to make a gap. And then we also have Moose coming on Purple again now within half a second of Purple. Yeah, well, we don't do phrasing here.
Do you think that irks Purple or?
Oh, that irks. He's grimacing for sure.
You think he'll just use that for his Moose instead?
Oh, okay. All right.
It's been fun. Great stream, everybody. Look at Moose is actually right on the behind of Purple right here. He's on the inside of this big corner. He's done this
several times already. He knows what to do around here. This is like his favorite passing zone. And now he's got 8 seconds to Steezy in front. Steezy having a solid race, again, consistent, 117s, 118s, consistent, all on his own, and minding his own business. Looks like he's not able to catch up to Delves, but Purple wasn't catching him. But I think Moose, he's got 8 minutes to make it happen. Moose, I think, is going to be able to do it. Moose has been rampant this race.
Notably, Steezy is currently holding 6th in our championship, and he's got Gilly ahead of him in 5th with 91 points. Steezy's got 75 points. But in 7th currently is Labu with 72 points. So if Steezy can even finish, Steezy can finish 4th or 5th if Moose ends up catching him, that'll be some solid points for him for this first race. And Labu obviously Steezy will definitely want Purple to stay in front of Labu. Purple's holding 8th place in this championship with 69 points. Though notably, Delps, if you finish 3rd point, Delps is currently 9th in our championship with 63 points. So Delps finishing 3rd would get him a ton of points, and would definitely be shooting him up a few positions on that grid. So interesting to see. We'll have to keep our eye on these points.
You have to cut over to Tony Cal. I apologize. He is the closest he's been yet.
Oh, he's getting close. So let's see. We'll jump on board. Love to see the rear end of Arctic here. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Enjoy the view. No one actually, everybody but Tony. He's probably real tired of this view.
Tony getting tired in the dirt on the left, not helping him here. Can he be brave through this banked corner here? Arctic getting a little sideways there. We know he likes to do it. Looks like a little bit of lag there. Tony, within a half a second, definitely going to get a toe, but the straight, he's going to want it to be longer. The gap is coming down, but who's going to be braver on the brakes here?
I don't think it's a question about being brave on those brakes. You either make that turn or you don't, right?
If
you don't make that turn, you're out of this race.
Yep. As they're coming through, both of them following a similar line. Arctic going a little bit wider. Neither of them hitting the apex though, and then Tony Cal having to do a big correction there to not end up in the dirt. Arctic pulling over to the side to break the toe, but Tony Cal just staying in line. That's smart by him. The toe wasn't going to benefit you too much there. The gap is now just over 3/10, about 4/10, depending where they're at. Yeah, Tony getting sloppy on the exit, though. You've got to be careful. You got to keep it together, but if you want that position.
It's funny how the time does not update fast enough for me because I want to see every single change, and it's just not updating fast enough. If we jump back on board, though, you can see just how close these guys are. And, I mean, again, we're coming out back around. Arctic going a little bit sideways. Like you said, though, Arctic does like to slide this car around. I don't know if it's a difference on the controller versus a wheel or whatnot, but Arctic likes having a slidey car.
He really does. Yeah, he was mentioning using the handbrake a few times around. I'm like, you're wild using the handbrake around here.
You know what I heard actually for you fellow? Apparently, using the handbrake on like hairpin turns for a controller driver can help you gain a bit of time. But you have to use it the right way. Like, you're not trying to slide the car really. You're trying to use it to rotate the front of the car just a bit faster than if you weren't using the handbrake.
Okay, maybe because we don't have the pressure sensitivity of the brakes or not.
Yeah,
I do find that it's difficult to rotate the car under braking with a controller.
Well,
and maybe that's a skill issue, but
it's probably partially a skill issue, but it maybe also it's a probably largely a skill issue. Skinny Nomo saying hello. So we're actually not racing. We're commentating. We got Ryan and myself, Walt here commentating, but Tony Cal is using a wheel. He's currently holding second place, attacking Arctic in first place, who uses a controller. I'm not sure if he's on PS5 or PS4 though.
I
think PS.
I know Philo. I think PS4. Him and Philo were both on PS4. I believe.
I think so.
Which is just ridiculous.
Crazy to me. Like,
I mean, I love the PS5 controller, and I'm not that quick. Frankly, it's a skill issue, obviously.
Obviously. So let's see. Who else were we watching? I know we want to keep our eyes on these two, but.
Well, I'll fill you up on what's going on behind you. Frankly, not much.
How is Moose
has got the gap down currently. He's got the gap down from 8 seconds to just over 5 1/4.
Okay.
He's got a few more minutes to make it happen. It's still going to be a tall order, as looks like Steezy's put in some good laps now. Just a couple laps ago, getting his fastest of a 1:17.5. But Moose is averaging low 1:17s, high 1:16s.
Mm-hmm.
Behind, Purple not really hanging on to Moose, unfortunately. Couldn't keep up. Then we have Demon running his own race now, Labu. But behind Labu, Marino is slowly catching. The gap has been between just under a second, just over a second. So Marino maybe finding some pace here later in the race.
And Marino going to get past Labu nice and easy, thanks to Labu going
nice
wide
and easy there.
At that banked corner. Marino going to try and run away again, taking 8th place away from Labu. And happy to see that. We'll jump back on board with Tony Cal, though. Everyone wants to see this front race. We have another first-time chatter. OG Sim Racer 16, what's going on? Skinny Nomo saying, I just got gifted a G29 Logitech wheel. Nice. Been having great fun with this game.
Oh,
Gran Turismo has been absolutely great. I really want to get a dedicated sim rig myself. I'm on controller currently, but I've been struggling to make the commitment to spend the money that I want for a proper. I know I can go and get like a Logitech G29. I've had it before. I've raced with that, but our buddy actually Tony Cal has a pretty nice rig himself, and after using that, I feel like I can't go back. So
yeah, I feel like using that kind of spoiled me a little bit. OG Sim Racer getting onto GC7 after ACC. ACC is tremendous.
Mhm.
It is quite a bit more in depth than Gran Turismo. I guessing you're using Gran Turismo as a warm up. I guess Fanatec is awesome.
Or cool down.
Yeah, Fanatec is tremendous. That's what Tony Cal has. It feels amazing. I have his old G29 or whatever the older version of it is. My problem is I don't want to set it up at my desk.
Yeah.
I don't want to set it up on desk and then take it off and set up. First of all, the seating posture is not the same. Secondly, it's just like a barrier to entry, a barrier to using
Hold
it.
on, real quick. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. We're on the final couple laps here. We have a 30-minute race here. We have just over a minute left as we see Tony Cal trying to chase down Arctic in front of them. But now we have Marino and Labu, the back markers. They're having their own race. You have to give up track position. Blue flags for Marino and Labu, but obviously they don't also want to impede their own race. And now the gap between Tony and Arctic has grown to over 2 seconds, all because of trying to get by those two in that final sector. That is incredibly unfortunate because, I mean, Tony's been a second or less behind Arctic for laps now. And
yeah,
that's,
Tony Cal's going to have something to say about that.
Absolutely.
I think
that's going to be
It was
rough.
a tough place. He tried going to the inside. They could have, you can't communicate with each other. But, man, that's pretty brutal. And now Arctic's just going to walk away with it. As the time is winding down, we've got 20 seconds left in this race. There's nothing to do. There's nothing Tony Cal could do, unfortunately. That is a bummer to see.
Yeah.
Moose behind, and
thankfully he's got the reverse grid, right? He's got the reverse grid to fight back, and Tony's still leading the championship. But that is a brutal ball. But at the same time, though, he had almost 30 minutes trying to get past Arctic, and he couldn't. So who's to say that he was actually going to get past this final lap here as we're coming around? Sim Racer 16 asking, how can I get in the league? So I don't know if we have any. Excuse me. I don't know that we have any full-time spots open, but obviously we do have reserve drivers for the most part. This is actually the first time I think we've had 10-person grid in forever. We usually have at
12
least
to 14.
Yeah, 12 to 14, usually closer to a full grid. We'll have to. I'll drop your PSN in the chat if that's cool. Or just
can you message on here?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
Yeah, it's OG Sim Racer. Go ahead and send me a private message with your PSN or your Discord username, and we'll talk there. Happy to get you an invite to the Discord. We have a Discord that's for drivers only.
Absolutely.
And, happy to see.
So
yeah,
congrats
Skinny
to
Noma. We'll get back to you in 1 second after we finish this wrap up.
Yeah, congrats to Arctic for taking first place from Tony on the first lap, and then just being able to defend that entire time and taking fastest lap with a 1:15.6. Tony Cal doing his absolute best to take first place back from him after getting pole position in qualifying, but unfortunately for him, really just couldn't get past the entire race, and then finally the final lap he got caught behind the two back markers, and unfortunately for him, he didn't have the opportunity to get through. Delps though qualified fourth and taking home P3 due to the incident with Moose, who had a hell of a recovery drive though, taking home P5. Demon and Delps and Purple in chat saying nice race. That's a great job. We do have our reverse grid coming up here as well. Skinny Nomo asking, I'm sorry if it's a bit off topic, where and how do I start watching real life GT? So do you mean I
would check out GT World on YouTube? That's a good place for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you mean the actual real life racing or esports, like Gran Turismo esports? Gran Turismo esports has a YouTube channel, and I know that they do streams and for their big events. But if you want to check out real racing, IRL racing, GT World on YouTube is pretty great. You can also follow Grid Life will usually put up some of their live races throughout the season. Yeah, Isma as well. Isma is huge. Isma has a lot. Yeah, you'll get bombarded with videos real quick from them because they post things in various languages. But you can see some awesome races. You can even see a bunch of MX5 Cup series that they do, and you can see just how close the racing is. It's really awesome. Really, really awesome. But, so again, congrats to Arctic, Tony, Delps, our podium holders and podium standers, I suppose. And we are gearing up for the reverse grid race where Pato Zug will be leading the first lap with Marino on second. And our winners of the first race will be in the back fighting their way through the grid. Hopefully no turn one chaos that usually happens. Sometimes happens with these reverse grids.
Yeah, you know, the reverse grids are a good thing. I think they're exciting. Could be a dangerous thing. Those, well, who will now be back markers? Tony Cal, Arctic, Moose. You got to be patient. They know what this track is like. We've been preaching it. It's a dangerous track. Yeah. Pato, let's add one more lap lead to that bumper decal.
I hope he can. I hope he can. And notably as well, Moose going to be starting further up the grid than he would be if he had finished third in the previous race, right? So
absolutely,
he'll still have to fight through the grid like he did this race, but he'll be getting a head start and hopefully have an easier time doing it as well. I'm curious to see how Marino's gonna be able to do with this reverse grid as well. Someone who, you know, again, we thought might have been a bit more competitive and wasn't really in the first race, but we'll have to see what happens. It looks like our points have been updated for that first race. No movement as of yet, so we still have Tony Cal holding first place with 204 points now, Arctic 200 points in second, and Moose holding third with 177. So again, this race is going to be huge as far as the championship goes between Tony and Arctic. Obviously, Tony wants to hold on to first place, but that's going to be pretty tough if Arctic has anything to say about it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he sucks. Was that Marino? I didn't want to say it. I mean, we were all thinking it. You know, I didn't want to say it, but I'm kidding.
You love to see it, dude, though. It was, you know, a lot of good battles in there, honestly, again, for a short track. Unfortunately, the traffic impedance for Tony Cal and that last chance that he had really to make it count. But it was a good race overall. We had that one mishap at the beginning. Mooseman saying he was pit maneuvered. I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe that was a result of some other contact. Obviously, it wasn't malicious, but we do have the drivers save their replays. Obviously, everyone can save their replay in here. And then we have a stewarding sessions post-race within the week after the race leading up to the next one. So anything that the drivers want to, they can submit for review, and we will look at it after that. But Tony Cal is setting up the lobby here. Unfortunately, you do have to manually set it up for the reverse grid. Looks like we are getting ready to get going, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll probably see these guys ready up. Exactly. These guys will be readying up. And for those of you new here as well, we do also have, so we're running this MX5 Cup Series. We're on race number 6 out of 10 today. And we also run it side by side with a Group 3 series. And yeah, the croc livery is pretty sick. And we have a Group 3 series as well that we generally alternate week by week. So next Sunday we'll be racing at Interlagos in the Group 3 series. It's a manufacturer series, so we have basically we can only have 2 drivers in the same manufacturer. Everyone else is in a different car, so it's nice to see some variety. And like in the MX5 series, we don't have tire wear or fuel wear. We just have 30 minutes of nonstop racing, pretty much. In the Group 3 series, we do have BOP applied, but we have some tuning allowed. We have tire compound change is required. We have fuel wear and tire wear as well. So there's definitely a bit more decisions to be had as far as strategy goes and how the race goes. So if you're interested in seeing that, we stream Sundays at 1. We start at just around 1 p.m. Eastern in the U.S. So if you're elsewhere in the world, sorry, I can't help you with that.
I mean, listen, we chose this time as friendly as we can for people around the world. It's difficult, obviously.
But we do have people from other countries as well, so.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We have people from around the world, and it's late enough that we can watch 99.9% of the F1 races, and that's really what matters.
That's what matters first, as we're going to be starting up soon. And yeah, Sim Racer noting the Connecticut. Hey, nice. Oh, we're Central Time here all the way.
It could be Connecticut or Central Time.
I'm not sure. Noting, yeah, I was gonna say OG noting the liveries. A lot of these guys are making their own liveries too, which is nice to see. Some guys change them week to week. Some guys change others. You know, have held on to the same one for a little while. But it's always nice to see. It always changes things up and whatnot. And all right, so here we go. We got the racing on, etc. All right, we got Pato leading with Marino right behind him. Actually, why is Delps in first?
I think that's just displaying it correctly, because Pato is very clearly ahead. As lights are going on, and then they're going to go out.
Here we go. Lights are out. Pato having a slow start. Looks like Mr. Labu may have started a little bit too early. I'm not too sure. False starts are on, but we are underway. Second race reverse grid is going, and Pato is going to lead this first lap for as long as possible. Oh, and he gets sent by Labu. Unfortunately, he's going a bit sideways. The carnage, the chaos is starting. We see Moose in the dirt once again in the back. Marino having a moment as well. Oh man, these guys, man, the race is not made in the first corner, and
it is not, and they need to be patient. And again, you cannot be doing that. We said it before, and right away something happens.
Unbelievable, yeah. Not what you want to be seeing at all. You don't want to be ruining anybody else's races. I suppose though, Tony Cal's happy because he dodged a lot of the chaos. He started in the back. He's up to the fourth right now, right behind Labu. Pato got hit by Labu, but he's now second to change ahead of Steezy in second place. Steezy going to be trying to hold on to that track position as much as possible. Delps up in fifth as well. He started near the back as well. Arctic holding eighth place. Arctic started in the way back, is now up to eighth place from 10th. So we'll see what happens. Pato, as long as he maintains first place, he's going to be able to say, I led a second lap in the series so far. Pato,
come on, Pato. We're all cheering for you.
Ever had.
Don't screw it up here. He does a clean last turn, and Pato, that is two. That is 2 laps led. Update delivery. Quit now.
Quit while you're ahead. Actually, excellency. It's really, really easy to fold under the pressure. And even with that tap from Labu, sent him sideways, he was able to recover it, and happy to see. And now he's putting in obviously a fast lap from starting from a grid start, but happy to see that. And the rest of the grid's still tightly packed, yeah. And we're just going. We'll move on down. We'll see how people are doing. Steezy chasing down Pato. Obviously, he had the pace last race, and we'll see how long it takes for him to pass Pato, if anything. Arguably, though, I'd say you kind of want to just try to work together as well. It's a bit hard. Second place car looks like he's jumping forward. As far as lag goes, or time. Yeah, Steezy had pace on Paddle last race. So I wouldn't be surprised to see. Yeah, exactly. He's the times are coming down. Delps up into third place. Tony in fourth place. These guys are. These guys have.
Tony must have had a really opportunistic move, especially since Arctic and Moose are still down in P8.
Yeah, and Tony's got a penalty now. Pato leading his second lap in his entire career. 3 laps total for his career now.
Mark it down.
Notably, Pato started playing this game like 3 or 4 months ago, so he kind of jumped in with both feet. We give him a hard time, but we're actually very happy to see that he's doing well. Delps getting his
Tony Cal with a 1.5 second penalty. That is not going to help his progression up the field. Thankfully, he does have a couple people between himself and Arctic, but Arctic just made a move on purple at turn 1, so that gap is going to be disappearing between Tony and Arctic. We'll see if they can keep it together.
We'll see, but we're gonna let this Pato have the camera for the time being, because I mean, that bright green, you can't really miss it.
You can't really miss it. Now again,
no,
Pato.
There we go. The cast curse. It happened. He's back on track.
Wally.
Slightly safe, unsafe rejoin, I'd say. But Labu is no worse for wear, and he's got some dirty tires, but he's holding it still. We're going through this tight section here. We'll see if Pato's able to hold on to fourth place for the time being. Looks like he is. though Wabu, the Pumpkin Man, is not far behind.
And Tony Cal likely really really happy. Despite his penalty, Pato's mishap gave him P3. Again, giving him more space between himself and Arctic. But we know Arctic is now long for P7. Moose now up to P8. Got past Purple as well. Moose notably not right up behind Arctic, though. He'll get there. We saw it last race. Yeah, and as the pack is so tightly packed, too, you know.
That's what we like from these reverse grid, though, races. Sim Racer saying, my money is on the Silver Bullet Coors Light. Yeah. Steezy's doing well. He's happy to be in that track position as we see Arctic making a move there on Demon in the back there, or midfield, I should say. And Delp's got to be enjoying first place here for now, trying to run away. He's got a 2-second gap between him and Steezy right now. Try to keep building that, my man, and we'll see what happens. But obviously Tony Cal is not far off from Steezy here either. We'll jump on board, take a nice look at Steezy's rear end here, rear bumper, and that Coors Light might be cold as the Rockies, but if I was Steezy, I'd be sweating in that car.
I think he's heating up right now. Yep, as Tony Cal being, again, braver through there. Right on the rear bumper of him. I mean, even give him a little love tap there.
Yeah,
I knew this place wasn't love for Steezy. Steezy did, yeah. He really didn't trust the car or trust his ability or both. But, you know, Delp's up ahead. He knows Tony Cal's got the pace on him, but he's kind of really hoping, I think, that Steezy can hold off Tony a little bit longer.
I'm sure
Delp's up ahead, notably, does have a 2.5 penalty. That's not going to help him stay up in front.
Not at all. And you know what, though? Who's right behind Tony is Arctic. Arctic has made quick work out of the
Moose right there, having a move on Mr. Labu. Right around turn 1.
Yep. We just don't jump on board with those guys. Moose is now in 5th place, right behind Arctic, his second behind Arctic. So this isn't anybody's game, honestly. We're still on board.
It truly is. Interestingly enough, Delps does have fastest lap currently. Tony Cal going a little bit wide there, but Steezy also getting in the dirt, which means Tony Cal's able to scoop right up with that better traction. Get the speed on him. I think Tony Cal's going to have a look right after this turn here.
Yeah.
To see if he can keep it tighty. Not as close as he wants to be, but he's going to get the toe effect down this main street. And we saw how close Tony was last time. He's flashing him.
Pop up and down headlights, baby. Let's go.
Steezy's got his line set, though. I don't even think he's driving defensively. Brakes so early, once again, not helping Tony Cal getting closer. I think Tony just bumped him a little bit once more. Tony Cal's going to have another go at it, but we know P2 is not long for Steezy.
You know what, though? All this fighting means Arctic is getting closer and closer to the back of Tony in 4th place. And the last thing that Tony wants is Arctic right behind him. Obviously, he had trouble passing him the last race, and, I mean, he couldn't. These two are so close on pace, Tony Cal and Arctic, that it's hard for either of them to pass unless someone makes a mistake or gets held up. OG Sim Race was saying the Mazda Roadsters are always fun to race. Yeah, the Roadster is a blast to drive. We are on sports soft tires as well, so the rear end, it's nice. It's easy to get the rear end out. You have to be kind of patient on the gas.
Would you say the rear end's nice and loose, Wally?
I would say that the rear end is nice and loose, just like Marino doing Pilates earlier before the race started. And we would put racing tires on them, but I think it's just, even the racing hard is just too much tire for the. It just makes the car.
It makes it too easy to drive.
It makes it too easy to drive. Yeah, there's no danger. There's no thrill of having the end. Sometimes you want to slide this car around. As they're going side by side, going down the straight here. Arctic caught up. He's side by side with Tony Cal, and he's right behind Steezy. Steezy's got to be feeling the pressure from both these drivers right now. Tony maintains third place.
Crack into the door. Steezy takes that turn, I think, better than he has. I mean, just the aura right now surrounding Steezy's got to be massive.
We're jumping on board with Arctic right now, though. I mean, Steezy's holding these guys up, and Delps is going to be thanking him. Delps has got to be paying Steezy right now, I think, be holding these two off. He's able to create a gap, and I mean, obviously, we know that Delps was about a little bit more than a half a second behind Tony and Arctic in qualifying, but he's still qualified 4th. He's got the pace, and if he's able to make that time up between him and Steezy for now, while Steezy's somehow holding these two off, then he's going to be thanking him for that after the race, because if he can hold that track position for as long as possible, he's going to be happy. Though Ari also behind Arctic is Moose. Moose is in 5th place, and this train is just getting more and more cars right on it. Steezy is holding the rest of the grid up right now.
Yeah, Steezy, I think, installed a wide body kit on that on that Mazda. I don't know how he's doing it. Tony Cal looking down the inside. He's got the space. He's got the space. Tony Cal's easily going to pass him. And now Tony Cal is going to try to get as far away as possible. But we know Arctic is not long there. He's right behind Steezy as well. All it's going to take is one mistake from Steezy to give up that place to Arctic. But can Tony Cal get some aid like Steezy's been giving Delps this entire time?
Steezy's been driving great today, and really have to see him getting his elbows out and defending well. Arctic, though, also one known to get his elbows out and put his nose in places where maybe you wouldn't always expect it, but he's not afraid to do it. And looks like he's having a run here on Steezy. He gets the inside of turn 1 and takes 3rd place away from Steezy. Steezy going a little bit wide, getting some tires in the dirt there. But Steezy gives him a bit of love tap. Arctic manages to hold on. His tires and
I think Steezy was giving back what Arctic did to him on turn 1 there.
I think so. I think so.
Looked like some contact, and Arctic, again, putting his nose where it doesn't belong. Turn 1's a questionable place. We saw Moose do it before and do it successfully and cleanly. Arctic, not so much.
Unfortunately for Steezy, though, that's going to give Moose the 4th place, and Steezy's now in 5th.
Yeah, but again, I don't think Steezy could be too upset about that. You know, again, he held with them for a while. We're already 1/3 through this race, and Steezy had, you know, we had our weeknight lobby, which we tend to do weekly, and for fun, but Steezy had pace in several different cars, so definitely not a slow driver. Calling him mid earlier this season, really, I think...
he took that personally, for sure.
Yeah, he took that personally, for sure, just like Max around Suzuka today, or last night, technically. Yeah, you know, Steezy, again, should be happy with P5, and you know, I don't think Delps is going to hold on to P1. He may, but...
we see Tony Cal takes fastest lap away from Delps. Now that Tony's got some clean air, he's able to put some lap times down with a 1:16.2. Not the fastest we've seen, but fast enough to take it away from Delps. And I'm sure we'll be seeing that time coming down. However, Arctic is 2.5 seconds behind Tony at the moment. We know that time's also coming down. These two drivers are so close in qualifying that it's just a matter of, you know, putting a toe out of line here and there, or you know, the other person doing so. And we'll have to keep our eye on these guys. I'm sure Moose, however, is going to be putting the pressure on Arctic. He's a second behind right now. Looks like he makes a mistake getting sideways now, and that time is going increasing between him and Arctic. Not what Moose wants to see, especially with the pace difference in qualifying. Moose was a half second off of Arctic. So he's taking the opportunity he had to be racing close, and now he's got to try and make that time up, and he's let the pressure off of Arctic, so Arctic can just worry about himself for a little bit. We'll jump down the grid while we're
unable to hold on, it looks like.
Unfortunately for him, we'll jump down Steezy, our Curtis Light man, holding 5th place. Kind of, he's got a car in front of him, he's got a car behind him, but you know, as long as he keeps driving the way he's been driving, I don't know if he'll be under too much pressure from the pumpkin man himself, Mr. Labu. Though Labu seems to be having a good race for himself as well here, and he's got sort of a train behind him as well, with Purple, Demon, and Marino right behind them. Yeah,
no, Labu, I think, hooked it up pretty well this weekend so far. Looking pretty gorgeous, if I do say so myself. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, but you know, Labu's definitely, again, glad to see Labu returning to some racing form. Kind of had a bit of a lull earlier this season. Purple, as always, consistent. Look at those lap times.
Yeah.
I mean, the man is just a consistency beast. Maybe not the quickest all the time, but consistency can get you results.
Yeah, keep it on the track, and then we're gonna be good. Wait, we got OG Sim Racer and OG Sims Queen. Right now, is this a family affair? What are we doing here? Happy though. Hello.
I mean, if you and I are related, why can't the viewers, right?
Fair enough.
Hey, Sim Racer's wife. Do you also sim race? Sim Racer's wife.
Do you have a his and hers sim racing setup?
A couple's racing setup? That would be
awesome.
Amazing.
That's sick.
Are you kidding me? Yes. Oh, love to see it.
Fantastic. Oh, as we see Demon getting right behind Purple here in the penultimate or the final corner of this lap 10, going on to lap 11 here. Notably, Arctic also taking fastest lap away from Tony with a 1:16.0. If we jump back on board with those two real quick, I'm curious to see what this time is looking like. Arctic not really gaining much on Tony at the moment, maybe a tiny bit, but he's still got that 2-second gap. Tony Cal taking about a half second off with Delps in first. So we have just over 15 minutes left here for this second race of the series today. And now the time seems coming down way more. Okay, here we go. Tony is under a second from Delps. Yeah, Arctic's got some good delivery chops going on this roadster.
You know what? Yeah, this has been his go-to, I think, since the second or third race for this MX5 Cup. But he just got someone made him a livery for our manufacturer series, which will be racing next Sunday. Also very, very good looking. But I do like Arctic's. It's pretty unique. It stands out. We got Tony Cal on the Crocs one in front of him. That's been a favorite of ours as well. I don't care for Crocs. I refuse to wear them because I think once I do, I'll realize they're actually comfortable, and I don't want to be caught wearing them.
Look at this time coming down between Tony and Delps, though. Tony is right on Delps, and Delps has got to be sweating. He's got to be feeling the pressure. We talk about the Tony Cal aura.
That's right, and the aura is strong today. Tony Cal in really good shape. Obviously, staying up last night and drinking made him feel pretty good today, I guess. Unlike the last time he did that.
Oh, man, as we see Tony Cal on the inside of that corner. I would not have expected to move there. We're side by side. Delps kind of squeezes him in there a little bit, and we'll jump back out of this cockpit cam to see these two fighting side by side. No one worse for anywhere as we're coming down to this banked corner. Arctic, because of the fighting, though, is gaining on these two, and we're about to have a three-way fight for first here.
Yeah, well, you know, we saw it before with Steezy. I think we're going to see a very similar thing here with Delps. That was just wild the last time when they took over Steezy, surrounding him like sharks in the water.
Mm-hmm. Here, we'll jump aboard with Arctic. I really enjoy the cockpit view. You can, because it's much easier to see just how close these guys are racing each other.
Absolutely. Also, peak Arctic's driver's suit looks
yeah, I like the suit as well.
Colorful and clean.
Absolutely. We're turning another lap here at Willow Springs. And these guys are, I mean, this is going to be close. This might be the lap where Tony gets Delps.
Just an update from behind. Demon did get past Labu. Demon is now up into P6.
Nice job from Demon. That's a solid race. And Steezy's still holding 5th place, which is good to see as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Delps is now in 3rd place. Tony Cal and Arctic have passed him. And he had a moment, and now the fight for first begins between Arctic and Tony. Now, last race, it was all about Tony attacking Arctic. This race, this is going to be about Arctic attacking Tony. And Tony, proven defender for sure. And he knows how to make that car as wide as possible. But he wasn't able, I think we're at the closest time delta between these two that Tony ever got really to Arctic in the previous race.
That's exactly right. Now,
we'll see if Arctic's able to make anything happen.
I think, yeah, Arctic likes to dip his tire in the dirt on the right there, approaching that turn. Kind of surprises me, but, oh, they're getting very feisty, very close. Again, Arctic liking to slide the car there around that last turn, and Arctic's going to have a good run on him down this main straight. But currently the gap is right around 3/10, 4/10. I don't think Arctic is close enough to do it, and hopefully he learned from his last attempt on, who was that, Steezy last time, I think?
Yeah, on the inside of turn 1. No, he's not going to have any room. Tony Cal actually kind of shuts the door on him there as well, and gets nice and close to the corner there for that turn. And Tony Cal definitely going to be doing all he can to defend and, you know, take inside lines where possible to defend against any sort of dive bombs of the century that we've seen a couple of times before.
Yeah, we're not trying to pull Perez level dive bombs here, you know?
No.
We're Ames. We're not Formula One. Notably, so now that Tony and Arctic have gotten past Delps, Moose is currently in P4 with a 4.5 second gap to Delps, and he's got 12 minutes to make it. Just over 12 minutes left to make it up. I think Moose might be able to do it, but again, Delps is quick around here. I still think Moose is faster. We saw that in the qualifying times, but Delps is holding his own. So that 4-second gap may not come down as quick as Moose wants it to.
We'll have to see if Delps puts a toe out of line and, you know, makes himself his own worst enemy. As we see, man, Tony and Arctic almost trading blows, it feels like. Not hitting each other, trading blows, but, you know, who's gaining there, who's gaining here and there, and it's
very reminiscent of last race.
It is incredibly, but I mean, Arctic got very close, and then in the final sector, Tony Cal was able to pull ahead. I don't know if that was, you know, due to Tony Cal maybe having better line, maybe Arctic getting a little bit too aggressive and, you know, out driving the car a little bit. But here we go again. Arctic having very, very good time through Sector 1 here, getting the time down quite a bit. And I mean, it's tough to see, obviously, you know, with the varying camera angles and stuff like that. Again, Arctic getting slidey. We know he likes to go sideways in this MX-5, and it seems to work out for him. I don't, again, that might be a controller thing versus a wheel thing. I'm really not sure. But here we go again with the back markers. A little bit where Pato just gets out of the way this time. Pato's like, I don't want anything to do with this. He sends it into the dirt. So Sim Queen saying, I think Arctic can do this. I put money on Arctic. We're gonna see. He definitely seems to be racy for the time being. Tony.
Well, your husband put his money on Steezy, and we see how that played out. So.
Yeah, Steezy Nick's in 5th place.
Maybe the missus is smarter with her money. The missus. I'm sorry, I don't like that term. Maybe Sim Queen is better with her money.
We'll see what happens, though. I mean, Arctic the past couple laps has seemed quite racy, but now arguably Tony Cal building a gap here and there, and it really just seems to be a difference in sectors. You know, all of a sudden Arctic seems to be pulling closer and whatnot, but we'll have to keep our eye on these two. I do want to go down the grid real quick just to check on everybody else before we jump back on with these two. Delp's holding 3rd place. The gap with Moose is now about 7 seconds or so. So Moose has got his work cut out for him for the next 10 minutes. Simmer saying she got the brains, I got the skills. Those are some fighting words. I think we might have to.
Sim, I don't know how long you've been married, and I've only been married for 2 years, but even I know not to say that. All right.
We're on board with Steezy. Kurz Light man over here, and Demon right behind him, though. Demon's gonna have a run for 5th place here for this race. Great to see these two. Always are fighting, but they kiss and make up after every race, and you love to see that sort of camaraderie as we see Pato in the dirt once again in that previous shot. We'll keep our eye on these two as well. We'll jump down to see where Purple is hanging out. Purple's got Labu just about a second behind him. Not close enough to make any moves yet, but maybe in a couple of laps, Labu will be taking a look. Take 7th place away from Purple. Marino, our resident real estate agent, down in 9th place in no man's land. He is racing
they had a moment. They had a moment last lap, and I think they were checking out a plot of land because they went off excavating for a bit, maybe looking for some new clients. I'm not really sure what happened, but they went off right here, so I think they just carried too much speed in. And successfully completing that turn this time around.
And then, of course, we have our resident Zugger, Pato, having a rough race here. He was able to lead the first couple laps here for the reverse grid. And that's
Arctic is right up on Tony Cal. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. We'll jump on board with these two. Once again, the gap has decreased to just 0.2 of a second. And yeah, these guys are going to be going at it for the next 8 minutes or so of the race.
That's exactly right. Arctic getting a better exit there. Tidier. Tony Cal's carrying more speed. But let's see how they can do it. Arctic again, keeping it tighter, not sliding around too much, but really rotating the car at the, at the apex there, able to keep it behind.
So close.
Closer than ever right now. Arctic going on the outside. Tony Cal forcing him to the outside, I should say. And let's see how Tony Cal can do it. He's got the preferable line here. Tony Cal's got to stay in P1 for now. He's got to do some work though to increase that gap.
He's got to park it on the inside right now, and he's he's got to do whatever he can to. I don't know, just be faster. Just get good. It's tough, obviously, good. Right? When you have someone behind you, and obviously he's feeling the pressure. Arctic putting a couple tires in the dirt there. And he gets a penalty.
Tony Cal is so thankful for that.
Yeah, Tony's got to be thanking Arctic for that penalty there.
Now he probably doesn't see it just yet, but the man's gonna breathe. 1.5 seconds. Arctic getting too hungry. Sim Queen, pay up. Sim Queen saying in chat, back to her husband. I know you got the brains too, and I do have skills. I'm new to it, and I've beat you a few times, so we'll see when I learn racing better who has the skills. But you do have better skills at racing. I have better skills at Sims 4. All right. There's a lot to unpack here, but hard agree on everything you just said. Glad to see that you've already beaten him at Sim Racing, and good to know that you'll beat him at Sims 4. Sims is never a game I got into too much when I was younger, but I was a roller tycoon fiend.
Well, my favorite thing about Sims was being able to lock
don't say it.
Lock
don't
someone
say it.
in what?
Oh, I know exactly what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Yeah, lock them in a little, like 1-by-1 room with no doors.
Solitary confinement. That's why I say don't say it, weirdo. No, everyone did that. Please.
Yeah, everyone did that. Come on.
If you didn't do it, you weren't playing The Sims right. All right, so we see Demon probably cursing themselves right now. They had the gap down. They were right up on the rear bumper of Tony Cow.
You mean Arctic?
I'm going to serve this. Arctic no, they were up on the rear bumper of Tony Cow. Serve this 1.5 second penalty. Tony Cow, whether he saw the penalty or not, is going to see the gap increase and
take a sigh of relief. Yeah, he's gonna be real happy to see that now, and Arctic's gonna have his work cut out for him. We got just over 5 minutes left of this race. We know Arctic can do it. He's obviously been very. He's got the pace today for this race, and again, if Tony has a moment, Tony's been very good. I will say today, not having any track limits issues. So hopefully
Tony
that
has
continues.
Been terribly consistent.
I'm not going to put the camera on him because that's going to curse him, and we don't want to be doing that. He already had his last race kind of impeded a bit from back markers, so we won't be doing that. Let's jump on board with the Moose Man, though. Moose fighting himself. It looks like Dubs is going to be taking 3rd place again, unless he has a massive moment, I think. And I mean, I know we have 5 minutes left, but really, really good run by Dubs today. Moose just wanted to hold off the Steezy behind him. If we jump on board with Steezy, Demon is right behind Steezy still. He's got to be getting tired of seeing that rear bumper.
Demon's been chasing after him for a few laps now.
Yeah.
Demon, I know, is losing a ton of time at the back straight. He just doesn't seem that confident with it. And I think that's probably where, again, like we saw with Tony Cow and Arctic, the sectors are different based on your driving styles and your comforts around here. Because Demon just really catches him in different places, and Steezy then goes faster and increases the gap. So this is still up for anyone. They've got a few 4.5 minutes left. See what they can do. Demon hungry for that 5th place finish. I think it'll do well for the points. Delps, though, mega points today, unless he screws up majorly here, but I don't think he will. Being terribly consistent just goes to show that, interestingly enough, real-life experience around a track does translate to sim racing. And likely the other way around, as we've seen. Yes, that was the joke. The best ones are the ones you have to explain.
Absolutely. Sim saying yes, or throw a pull down and put them in it. Yes, that was also an old favorite. I also point out Sim Racer said he did like the Crocs card. Fair enough. Oh no, as Demon gets the track limit, 1/2 second. Not that big, but when you're fighting for someone this long, and he'll be serving that this lap.
Well, just like Arctic versus Tony.
Yep, unfortunate for him.
Now, notably, last straight race, neither Arctic nor Tony put a toe out of line. I mean, neither of them had a penalty, and Arctic actually commented on it in our driver Discord. And it's like, Tony Cow, do you not know what a mistake is? Because it was a flawless race. Arctic, though, making that mistake, putting those tires in the dirt, too far over, and there's the mistake you were looking for, Arctic.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but we'll jump on board with Labu, see how he's been holding up. Labu was right behind Urkel. Must have had a moment or 5 because he's now 12 seconds behind. And it looks like he'll be taking P8 home today. Marino's nowhere to be found. Pato's nowhere to be found behind him. Never stand watching that Coors Light car. I can't say Coors Light anymore. I have to say Coors Light because our buddy Max always says Coors Light. Yeah, make me want a beer. Listen, it's never too early.
It's never too early.
Unless it is too early. Sure. But
or if you have
I'm thirsty.
Addiction issues.
Yeah, of course.
I just down some Gatorade though. I'm feeling good.
So, really the only race I guess we have going on right now is Demon against Steezy. Demon has served that penalty. He is still under a second behind, under a second behind Demon, or Steezy rather. I'm getting these two confused. We have just over 2 minutes left of this race. Now, obviously, he can claw that gap back, but he was already fighting under a 1/2 second for how many laps, and he wasn't able to make a move happen. Obviously, like you said earlier, it depends on where he's gaining time versus losing time, where Steezy's faster than him. But, if he's not able to make that time in the passing parts of the track, then he's not going to be able to make this move happen, and I'm sure Steezy would welcome a 5th place finish.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I think if you swapped their places this entire time, I don't know that Steezy would have gone past Demon, just like we saw with Arctic and Tony last race, and Tony versus Arctic this race, right? Notably, Arctic did get another 1/2 second penalty, not help himself, but Arctic got fastest lap last race, and he'll be getting fastest lap this race. So their net difference is nil at this point because Tony got the pole point as well.
Yep.
And they swap positions. So they won't be moving at all in the standings. Their points are going to go up, but maybe the best outcome, I mean, besides beating your closest opponent, is the next best thing you could ask for.
Look, all of a sudden, we are in the final minute of the race, and Purple has now entered the chat here for this fight for 5th between Demon and Steezy and Purple. Purple is caught up, and he is ready to put the pressure on these two. As you see, Demon maybe tapping Steezy a little bit. Steezy going a bit sideways, but he's able to hold on to the car and make it around that corner. What do we think?
That's right.
Is it going to come down to the last minute?
It's going to come down to the last minute. Purple's consistency, again, helping him out, catch up here. Will he be able to do anything? I don't know. This is going to be close. They may get another lap in here. That straight is pretty darn quick around here. It's definitely not your longest part of the lap.
I don't think so. I think we have 15 seconds. I think that they have more than that left in this lap. This is going to be the final lap here.
Yeah, you're right.
So if they're going to get a move done, this is going to have to happen in the last few corners of this track. I don't think it's going to happen, though. It's really tough to make any moves happen here. As I say that, Purple having a look-see on
come on, bro.
all the moment. Getting real nice and close here.
Steezy might get a penalty for that.
Purple has a look-see at Steezy. Oh, no, he crashed.
Oh, they're getting sloppy.
They get sloppy, and unfortunately listen. Wow. Well, that was cool. I think Purple put his nose in where he shouldn't have. I think he went for a cap.
I think that was desperate. If I were him, I would have just stopped and let Steezy get in front of me. I guarantee, though, that Steezy's going to bring it up, and or Purple will bring it up post-race in the driver's Discord. But that was some excitement right there. Pato, notably, not finishing last. Finishing 9th. Looks like Marino had many issues. Pato trying to get another win for Tony Cal, I think. Oh, there's Arctic. Okay, Pato, man, what a team player. Not the fastest, not the most consistent, but really putting into the work.
Arctic having some fun here in this final corner of this final lap, going sideways left and right, just making some smoke as he crosses the line. I gotta be honest though, I mean, we had some great drives from a lot of people today. Tony Cal and Arctic obviously were standouts as far as the lap pace goes, but I gotta give driver of the day to Delps.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that anybody expected him to do that, and he did it well.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. I love seeing all the cars in one place, just changing constantly. Love that. So let's jump aboard here. Arctic did get fastest lap, as you said, for this race, so he's going to be getting an extra point for that. Purple jumping into the chat saying Steezy can have 6th. Sorry, bro, and sending a hug out. Yeah, that was rough, unfortunately. I mean, listen, I feel you for going for that move. You see a gap, and then it's like your brain just enters. Like
your brain enters like the lizard mode, and it's the last thing you could do. Is the last chance you have. I get it.
Absolutely.
I get it.
But congrats to Tony Cal, our reverse grid race winner. Dump jumping the chat saying thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. But obviously, like the pace difference between Tony and Arctic, and then you and like Moose, because you and Moose were pretty close, was at least half a second, if not a little bit more than that, right? So to come home third, this Great job, and you're gonna get a lot of points, I think, in the series for that. So you'll probably be jumping up a couple places, I would assume, if not 1 or 2. I think Cody Cal is jumping into the spreadsheet now to update the standings, and Moose taking home 4th. Moose had a very difficult day. Moose had such a tough day, and I don't know how much of it was really his own fault or not. I think Moose did the best with the cards that he was dealt today, and obviously any penalties that are dished out after the race will be dished out, and that obviously won't be changing the races that he had to go through today, but we'll have to see what happened exactly. Demon, I mean, honestly, a lot of these guys had great races today. Demon taking home 5th on the reverse grid. Well, we'll have to see exactly what happens there with those 3 guys, I guess, Demon, Purple, and Steezy. I think Demon was not at fault for anything. I think he took the opportunity that Purple kind of gave him by pushing Steezy out of the way.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree, unfortunately.
I would probably
Ne-
give Purple 7th, and I'd have to give Demon 5th. He didn't do anything wrong. I don't think. We'll have to check the replays, of course.
Yeah, again, it could all be submitted after everyone cools down, but a good couple of races there. Obviously every race just about has its lulls, but overall I thought it was really good. Honestly, a lot less travesties than we anticipated.
Yeah, happy to see that for sure. Happy to see that for sure. It looks like the points are updated. So we have Tony Cal still holding first place in the championship with 229 points. Arctic holding second with 219 points. Moose holding third with 189. Steezy is in fifth place with 95 points. Purple moves up to seventh with 87. Wabu right behind with 86. Demon with 70 points in ninth. Delps points are not updating, I don't think. Yeah, Tony's looking at that right now too. So, okay, so Delps, yeah, I was gonna say Delps points have not updated for the entire day so far. So we'll see what happens. Tony, Pato, 11th place in the standings, 1 point ahead of Marino.
Wow, yeah, Pato holding on there. Obviously, Marino was a later comer.
Yeah, exactly.
Late joiner.
Oh my God, come on, man, freezing. Is he gonna fix this or But anyway, some exciting racing here today, and thank you to all the new people who joined us. Sim Queen, Sim Racer. We had someone else join as well. I don't think they followed us, but it was Skinny Nomo as well. Welcome. I hope you enjoy some Gran Turismo, and obviously you can if you have any questions, ask in chat when we're streaming. We are streaming Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Next week we'll be back with our Grid 3 series at Interlagos in Brazil. That's correct, at 1 p.m. So unfortunately I won't be here, but Ryan will be here to stream and commentate, and I think we may have a guest commentator as well. Oh, stop it! You're gonna make me blush, Sim Racer. And we also have a YouTube channel where we post these VODs. Occasionally we do we post highlights as well if we felt that like there was a bit of anything to watch. So if you thought there was any good highlights, be sure to highlight them as well. And I think that's that.
Thank you, Sim Racer and Sim Queen. Much appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
and,
it's very kind.
I guess we'll have to catch y'all next time. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.
Cheers, everyone.